What is a 529 college savings plan, and is it right for me and my family? Hi, I'm Dave Lopez, founder and managing member of ILG Financial.
And I'm Chase Lopez, advisor at ILG Financial. And today we're coming at you with another episode of our video series, Retire Your Way with ILG Financial, where we discuss everything with respect to your retirement plan. And before we dive in here, Dave, I just want to let the audience know, hit like or subscribe there at the bottom to get alerted for any of our future videos that we have that talk about all different retirement topics.
Like and subscribe.
That's right. You got it.
Now let's dive right into it. Now, why this is coming up, the 529s, is saving for college. And what's in the news now is the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness. And it's destined, it seems like, as of the recording of this video, to go to the Supreme Court.
That's
Chase.
That's right.
And many of the experts think it may very well be struck down, which means these 43 million plus Americans who think they're going to get $10,000 in loan forgiveness, and even more if you also have a Pell Grant, may not give that loan forgiveness. But understand this, even if they do, even if it passes and they get that, it is very likely that this is a one and done kind of a forgiveness. Mm-hmm. If you're planning to save for your children's college or your grandchildren's college, do not plan on future loan forgiveness plans to bail you out. Now, what that means is to keep you and your children from having literally, Chase, decades of debt after you get out of college. What it means is you're going to have to start saving. And one of the tools to save for college is the 529 College Savings Plan. Today, let's talk about, Chase, what it is, the advantages to it, the cons or the disadvantages.
Sure. So first, to start, right, the 529 is a college savings plan. And what that means is, in order to qualify for the tax benefits that this account provides, is that the funds have to be used for qualified college expenses or qualified educational expenses.
Yeah, and those are usually, I would say, depending on the plan, right? Room, board,
and tuition,
but also supplies.
Yeah, that's right. Books as well.
Computers. Computers. So a broad range of things that you can apply the money to.
Yeah, and when you put the money into these plans, right, into the 529 plans, the earnings are not taxed, which is a great deal, right? We get to grow the money. It's not taxed as it's growing.
Right. Now let me jump in about that.
Yeah.
So what that tells you is this plan is ideal for someone who college is still many years away.
That's right.
Because it's the growth, it's the tax-free growth that makes the plan worth it. If your college is imminent in 2 to 3 years, we're really not going to save that much. Right. So the tax-free savings wouldn't be that much. Ideally, it's for folks with younger children or younger grandchildren, and we're planning for 7 to 10 years of savings before we have to use this money.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Dave, because one of the things you can do inside of a 529 is you can actually invest the funds that go inside, right?
So let's break that down.
Yeah.
There's 2 different types of 529 plans.
That's right.
Do you want to do it, or you want to?
Yeah, so with the 2 different types, the first, right, is what we just kind of alluded to, right, which is you can invest the funds, right, and to your point, it's very flexible in what we can use the funds for, whether that be tuition, room and board, books, or supplies, whatever the case may be.
All the ones we had listed.
That's right.
And in the investing on that, I would suggest, is usually a broad asset allocation model.
Right.
But based on the child's age.
That's right.
A 2 or 3 year old, we might be more aggressive in the market, and every year, the closer we get to high school graduation and college, we'll start to get more conservative and more conservative and more conservative. That's usually the way we would invest in a 529.
That's exactly right. And just as a quick aside, not to get us too off topic here, Dave, very similar to how we talk about with investing or saving for retirement, right?
That is an aside. But you're right. It's the same thing, right? We want the stocks have the most volatility, so we need to be pulling back from those the closer we are to needing the money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So back to the 2 types.
The second type is the prepaid tuition option, right? So you can, the prepaid tuition option is exactly how it sounds, right? That can strictly only be used for tuition. You don't have the flexibility to use it for books or room and board and things of that nature.
Yeah, but it's a neat plan because what they're doing is you're literally paying for tuition today.
Right.
at today's prices.
Right. Right.
And you think of it like a credit or a ticket to the movie, and you can use the movie later even if the cost of the movie had gone up.
Right.
Now, again, the disadvantage is you can only do it for tuition, so you need additional savings for room and board and expenses. And there's some other limitations we'll cover in a few minutes with with a prepaid plan may not be for you. So how do you set up a 529? Well, so there has to be one owner. That's usually a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa.
That's right.
Grandfather, grandmother. And then the child who's going to use the 529 plan will be the beneficiary of the plan. It's important to do it that way. So that's how you'd set it up.
Yep, that's exactly right. And a common question we get, Dave, is how does this affect financial aid, right? You apply for financial aid if you're going to school. Does the 529, affect a child's ability to get financial aid? So the short answer is it would, right? It would affect that child's ability to get financial aid a little bit.
Because the money, if it's in mom's name or dad's name, then it's counted against the parent's assets.
That's right.
And if if a parent makes too many assets, then the child does not qualify for aid.
Right.
But that's not a biggie, right? Because it only counts maybe 5 to just under 6% against them.
That's right.
So that's probably not going to be the deal breaker as to whether your child needs aid or not. You can get with a financial professional before you do it to see if that's a fit based on yours. But we rarely have had someone come in and say, I was sorry I contributed to a 529 plan because I lost a little bit of qualification for aid. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I would agree. So another positive to the 529, and we briefly alluded to this already, is the fact that you get some tax breaks when you put money into the 529 and you use it for those qualified educational expenses. Now, it's important for everyone to know, if you put money into the 529, if you don't use it for those qualified educational expenses, then there is a penalty involved with that. So we just want to be cognizant of that as we put the money into that 529 plan.
Yeah, it's designed and giving you tax advantages. So it's incentivizing you to use it for college expenses, and not just college, of course, right?
Yeah.
But continuing education expenses.
That's right.
Now you'll get the gains are free from federal tax.
That's right.
Right, and they're most of the time free from state tax, right? And it goes a step further than that. Some states even give you a tax credit if you use their 529 plan and go to school in the state, right? That's different with all the different states, so you want to check depending on the state that you're in. I know folks are listening to this from all over the U.S., so it's different in every state.
That's right.
But you want to be careful of that. But in any case, if you don't end up using it for college, you're going to, if you took the money out and don't use it for college expenses, not only do you pay tax on the money, but there's a 10% penalty. So there's some workarounds.
That's exactly right. So that's one that leads us. Man, you're great with these segues, Dave. That leads us into our next topic with the 529, which is there are some cons, right? Just like any investment, there's advantages and disadvantages. So one of the cons that we hear a lot about is, well, hey, if I put this money into the 529 and my child doesn't end up using it for college or continuing education because they don't, go to college or they get a scholarship, what kind of happens there? So the first thing is that you could, if you have multiple children, you could transfer it to another child, right? So it goes back to what you were talking about before, Dave, which either the mom, the dad, the grandparents, someone's the owner, and there's a beneficiary. One of the children is the beneficiary. Well, you can change who that beneficiary is if, one of the children doesn't need,
so if you have multiple children or multiple grandchildren, it's a great plan, and you can just swap it to keep moving it to beneficiaries to the one who needs it. Remember, it can not just used for college, it can be used for graduate school.
That's right.
Any higher education stuff, it can be used for trades, schools, and things like that. So that's one way to do it, right? You can transfer it to another child.
Right.
Another interesting thing you can do, and this is thanks to the new Secure Act 2.0, is that you can actually, if it turns out the child doesn't need it for college, you can actually roll some of it into a Roth for that child. Now, it has to be a Roth for the beneficiary, for that child. It can't be for mom and dad or grandma or grandpa. Right? Now, here's the limitations to that. Number one, no more than $35,000 lifetime for one person to roll.
Right.
So the idea with this, the reason they put that limit on, Chase, is the idea is they're hoping you'll still save a bunch of money, use all of it or most of it for college.
Right.
But what if you do and you invested so wisely and saved so much that there's still residual?
Right.
They don't want to penalize you for that. That's why they're limited. It's not designed to save $100,000 and turn it into a Roth.
Right.
But up to $35,000, if your child doesn't need that money, you can roll it into a Roth in their name. That's the max. Also, the child has to be earning income.
That's right.
And they can't be earning too much. What do I mean by that? It means there's limits to who can contribute to a Roth. There's phase outs if you make too much money. Those same phase out numbers apply to you doing this conversion from a 529 to a Roth. And then the last one, what's the last one? Oh, you have to have it open.
You have to have the 529 open for 15 years.
Yeah, and
right?
again, the reason for that is they don't want to use it as a trick to do
That's right.
to backdoor into Roths.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But some of those may fit. It's a really nice addition.
It is. It is.
Between that and transferring the money to another beneficiary, you know, there's very good possibility you can safely use this money for its intended use and avoid penalty and avoid taxes.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that they put that caveat with the Roth in recently was they want to incentivize people to save for education, right? And they don't want people to be afraid of doing that because they think their child may not want to do any continuing education down the line. So it gives you kind of that out if you need it.
It does. Now, last one I want to address is, can someone else help, some other family member help contribute? And there's some great ways to do this. First of all, we already talked about the fact that a grandfather or a grandmother can open a 529 for their grandchildren, which is a great thing for grandparents. If you're looking for ways to help the kids, that's a great way to do it. And if that one child doesn't go to college, you can switch to another grandchild. But here's what's kind of neat about that. Interestingly, starting in 2024, if a 529 is owned by a grandparent, unlike a parent, it does not count against them qualifying for financial aid.
That's right.
So a really strong argument to have the grandparents hold the 529s, because mom and dad can still contribute to it.
Yeah.
The grandparents aren't the only ones, and that takes me to number 2, which is anybody can help out a child with it, and they can put it in. A fun thing to do is when someone starts to ask you, what can I give your kid for birthday or Christmas, you can actually give them a coupon code so that they can contribute to the 529 plan.
Right.
So that's a really neat way to start building the account up, saving for college for the kids, getting the tax deductions. It's a nice option.
Yeah, even an uncle or anyone, right?
Anybody.
Well, I think we covered a lot there with the 529s. A great plan for saving for anyone's college. We encourage everyone to get with their financial professional if you want to discuss this in any further detail. Also, hit the like or the subscribe button down below to get alerts for any of our future videos, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.